Welcome. My name is Randy Jenny, and this is a short video using the solver function in Excel. So I'm over here on the solver sheet, and we have Ray's Heating and Air. So we're going to figure out how much Ray is making annually in terms of his gross income, and then we're going to use solver to see if we can manipulate that a little bit. So I'm going to start out putting my cursor on B6. Oh, and by the way, if you don't already have solver showing up under the Data tab, you could do a quick Google search and type in add solver, and whether you're using a Mac or a PC, you'll find some resources to help you install solver. It's not difficult, but solver is not installed automatically with Excel. You have to do it manually. Okay, in B6, I'm going to build the formula to figure out Ray's gross income. So I'm going to start out with an equal sign, and it's service calls, so 640 times trip charge plus hours billed, the 2,500, times the hourly rate. And press enter. So based on that formula, and Ray obviously goes out and does service calls with his heating and air company. So he makes $91,000 as his gross income. Now, what we want to do is see if we can find a way to bump that up to 120,000. See what would have to change in terms of these numbers in order to achieve 120,000. And that's where solver is going to help us. So I'm going to put my cursor on B6 again, and I'm going to go into solver. I'm going to move the window over so we can see as much as possible. I'm going to make sure this says B6, so set objective B6 to a value of, and I'm going to change this to 120,000. So that's our goal, that's our objective. By changing variable cells, make sure this says B2 to B5. So those are the cells that solver is allowed to change in order to achieve the 120,000 instead of the 91,000 that we have right now. But we don't want to give it total free license to do whatever it wants with the numbers, or we might have some ridiculous values in there. So we can put in what are called constraints. So we can limit how much flexibility solver has to solve this problem. So here are the constraints down here. It says, first of all, ensure service calls, hourly rate, and trip charge are integers. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to add in a constraint. I'm going to make sure service calls, that's my 640, is an integer. And I'm going to click add. And then it just blanks out so I can do the next one. Hourly rate is also an integer. And add that in. And trip charges are integers. Okay, trip charge is an integer. And just to see where we are so far, I'm going to hit cancel just to see what it looks like so far. So it looks like I put in two of the integers. It looks like I might have made a small error, so I'm going to go back and make sure about that third one. So I'm going to go back and add in the third one, which was trip charges. So this one, and integer, and add that in. Okay, set a constraint to ensure hours billed cannot exceed 2,500. Okay, so hours billed, make sure it's less than or equal to 2,500. Add that in. Set a constraint to ensure the trip charge does not exceed $50. Okay, trip charge is less than or equal to 50, so it does not exceed 50, and add that in. And a constraint to ensure hourly rate does not drop below $30. So hourly rate needs to be greater than or equal to $30. So that way it can't drop below $30. and add that in. And let's say cancel now, and let's see what we have. Okay, so I have the three integers, b2, b3, b4. I believe I have the other constraints in there, greater than or equal to 30, less than or equal to 50, and 2500. So I think I've put in all of the constraints, so now I can click on Solve, and Solver says it has found a solution, and I'm just going to keep the solution. So yes, it looks like we've changed our gross income to 120,000. Some of these values have changed in order to produce the 120,000, and I think we're good. So I'm going to click OK. And that's a brief introduction to Solver. Thanks very much.